As they say, love is like a battlefield, and for Glenn Quagmire, it's more like a minefield. Quagmire's love life in Family Guy is a series of explosive adventures, each more shocking than the last. From affairs with friends' wives, to falling in love with someone who abuses him more than my boss abuses me at work. In this video, we will show you 10 of Quagmire's worst relationships to ever exist in Family Guy. Let's strap in for this roller coaster of an episode. Quagmire's Quagmire. Quagmire's love life spirals into pure chaos. It all begins when Quagmire, Peter, and Joe head out for a new computer. Not long after setting it up, Quagmire panics, unable to find his special photos. Desperate, he calls Peter, who tries to help but ends up frying the computer. When Quagmire takes it to a repair shop, Sonia, the clerk, gets a peek at his unique browsing history. Rather than being horrified, she's intrigued. They hit it off instantly and end up on a date, bonding over shared BDSM treats. Quagmire's thrilled, thinking he's finally met his soulmate. The next morning, he wakes up handcuffed to his bed, realizing Sonia drugged him, but instead of being horrified, he's ecstatic.
No, I'm in love.
Quagmire can't wait to brag about this perfect relationship to Peter, Joe, and the gang at the Drunken Clam, even as they warn him to be careful. Ignoring their warnings, Quagmire plunges into the relationship, excited by Sonia's extreme ways, even introducing his father to her intense games. But soon, Peter and Joe notice him showing up with fresh black eyes. Quagmire laughs it off, but Peter and Joe are worried.
There's nothing wrong with this.
No way, give me those. Oh my God!
Quagmire, what the hell happened?
Things take a darker turn when Sonia jumps him outside the clam, roughing him up badly.
Sonia, stop, please!
Come on, you love it.
Ow, ow, ow! You're hurting me, and I really need to clean out my trunk!
Oh, I'm gonna clean out your trunk. Giggity.
That's my word! That's my word!
Okay, Joe, you're drunk.
Alarmed, Joe and Peter decide to act, teaming up with Quagmire's mom, Ida, to track him down. After searching all his usual spots, they get a tip that leads to a creepy storage container. Inside, they find a battered and bruised Quagmire, trapped and helpless as Sonia corners them, wielding Joe's own gun. Luckily, Joe had kept it unloaded, and they managed to disarm her, finally putting an end to Quagmire's dangerous romance. On a wild trick-or-treat night in the episode, Must Love Dogs, Quagmire meets a charming woman while she's out with her niece, and sparks fly instantly.
Hi, my name's Carrie.
Hi, Carrie. My name is Glenn.
It's really nice talking to you, Glenn.
You too, Carrie.
They go for a breakfast date the next day, where things are going great, until she reveals she's an obsessive dog lover. Quagmire, who's never been a fan of dogs, decides to fake it. He even considers buying one, but figures posing with Brian would be easier. After a laugh at Quagmire's expense, Brian agrees to play along for 6 tennis balls. Quagmire dives headfirst into pretending to be the ultimate dog enthusiast, but he can't shake the feeling that his secret will come out. Meanwhile, Brian, who thinks the whole thing is doomed, sits back, amused, just waiting for the moment it all goes wrong.
Well, then you've never seen me at my best before, and it's all thanks to Carrie.
As Quagmire becomes convinced she's the one, he impulsively proposes to her with an engagement ring. She says yes, and Quagmire's excitement quickly gets a reality check when she moves in, with a small army of rescue dogs in tow. The new living arrangement is chaos. Dogs are everywhere, barking, shedding, and taking over every inch of his place. Quagmire's patience snaps when, during their engagement dinner party, he accidentally says the word walk and triggers a stampede of overexcited dogs.
You know, I first met Carrie and her niece a couple of weeks ago on Halloween. Thank God they decided to take that walk. And now we're headed down the aisle. A very different kind of walk.
The whole dinner is a disaster, and Quagmire reaches his breaking point. Admitting he really despises dogs, he confesses his lie to his fiancée, ending their relationship right then and there. Heartbroken but frustrated, Quagmire turns his frustration on Brian. He wants revenge for Brian's smugness, and heads out on a walk, leaving Brian alone in the house, knowing he'll get his payback soon. Meanwhile, Stewie notices his candy stash shrinking after Halloween, and suspects a thief. He sets a trap and catches Chris, but Chris reveals that Peter is the real culprit, just like he did when Chris was a kid. Together, they scheme to hide the candy, only for Chris to double-cross Stewie and let Peter have it all. At the same time, Quagmire's revenge kicks in when Seamus drops a monstrous screenplay for Brian to review, reminding him never to mess with Quagmire. If you think that was fun, you should see the dumb things Quagmire did in this episode, The Cleveland Loretta Quagmire. Peter decides to host a wild party on his fishing boat, and of course, Quagmire is more than ready to join. While casting his line, Quagmire reels in a fish that miraculously lands right in Loretta Brown's shirt. Loretta, sensing an opportunity, tells Quagmire to reach in and grab it. With a mix of shock and excitement, Quagmire obliges. And as his hand gets cozy between her chest, Cleveland walks over, calm as ever, and casually greets him before wandering off. Quagmire is left wide-eyed, clearly not expecting this kind of day at sea. Later, things get spicy back on land when Peter and Brian hear strange noises coming from Cleveland's house. They rush over, only to find Loretta wrapped up in an intimate moment with a mystery man.
You know, for a large, heavy-set black guy, Cleveland's got a cute little white ass.
That wasn't Cleveland, it was some white guy.
What was that?
Shut up and put some more of that sugar in my bowl.
Shocked, they hurry out without seeing his face, but once they're gone, Quagmire's head pops up from the couch, a smirk on his face. The next day, when Peter decides it's time Cleveland knows the truth, he breaks the news in his usual overly dramatic way, which doesn't sit well with Cleveland. Confronting Loretta, Cleveland is met with her claim that she needs a real man, sending him out the door. With Cleveland staying at the Griffin's house, Peter thinks a revenge lay will cheer him up and suggests asking Quagmire for help. But as Peter and Brian arrive at Quagmire's house, they spot a familiar tattoo on his backside.
Peter, look!
Holy crap, that's the tattoo!
Quagmire was Loretta's lover. When they break the news to Cleveland, he barely reacts, staying calm as ever. Lois, hoping to spark some emotions, gives Cleveland a pep talk, which also hilariously inspires her to drop her pants and ask Peter to spank her. Still unfazed, Cleveland needs Peter to go to extreme lengths, including wearing a Quagmire mask and wrestling with Brian to finally get mad enough to confront Quagmire. When Cleveland finally chases Quagmire down with a baseball bat,
You violated the sanctity of my marriage.
Brother had a bed everywhere, but Cleveland can't bring himself to hurt him. Instead, they agree to settle things in a boxing ring, where they make peace and leave their friendship and bruised egos mostly intact. As the Griffin family gears up for Meg's 18th birthday party in the episode Meg and Quagmire, things take a surprising turn when only Quagmire shows up. His intentions quickly become clear. He's not here just to celebrate, but to charm Meg. However, when Quagmire leaves to avoid any drama, Peter lets it slide.
And then giving those names to other people whose butts I kick. What's your name?
Derek. Thinking it was just a harmless flirtation, but Quagmire is relentless, continuing to flirt with Meg and eventually persuading her to go out with him. On the night of their date, Peter is furious when he finds out and tries to put his foot down. However, Lois steps in, reminding Peter that Meg is no longer a little girl. She shares her own rebellious past with her father, insisting that if they try to control Meg, she'll only push back harder. After their date, Quagmire returns home, feeling confident despite not scoring. But he's in for a surprise when Peter confronts him, demanding he stay away from Meg. Quagmire, unfazed, counters that Meg is 18, making her fair game, and vows to pursue her regardless. Quagmire ramps up his efforts to woo Meg.
Oh my god, don't drink the water! I'm so gonna brush my teeth with tequila.
But Peter is determined to keep them apart. He tries reasoning with Meg, who only grows frustrated and confides in Lois. Once again, Lois warns Peter not to push Meg into rebellion. But when Lois discovers that Meg and Quagmire snuck off to his infamous love cabin, she realizes they need to intervene. Together, she and Peter rush to the cabin, acknowledging that Peter's instincts about Quagmire were right all along. Arriving at the cabin, they find Meg and Quagmire in an unpleasant situation. Peter demands Meg get into the car, but she stands her ground, asserting her age and independence. However, Peter firmly reminds her that he will always be her father, no matter how old she gets.
I don't want to see your face knocking on our door for at least a month.
Would you sign the guest book on your way out?
Lois Griffin, Peter Griffin. We heard alone.
Lois then turns her sight on Quagmire, threatening him in a way that only she can, asserting that he will pay if he ever tries to pursue Meg again. You'd think this guy is ever gonna relent, but nah. Quagmire's gonna be Quagmire at all times. In the episode Big Man on the Hippocampus, he is no different. The Griffins hear that Family Feud is holding auditions in Quahog and jump at the chance to be on the show, but things take a chaotic turn when Peter, furious over their loss, gets into a scuffle with host Richard Dawson, who shoves him so hard that Peter loses his memory. While Lois tries every trick to jog his memory, Peter has no idea who she is or that they're even married. In an attempt to rekindle things, Lois reveals their relationship and introduces him to the wonders of intimacy. Peter's hooked, but soon decides he'd rather explore those wonders with other people. Which devastates Lois. Heartbroken, she takes the kids and moves into a small, rundown apartment to start over. The news of Lois being single spreads fast, and it's music to Quagmire's ears. Ever the opportunist, he sees his chance and goes into full charm mode.
Oh my God, you are a saint! I think I can make it from here. Whoa! Whoops! Professor Klutz, the doctor is in.
He swoops in, inviting Lois out to a romantic dinner, hoping to finally win her over. Quagmire pulls out all the stops, showing Lois the best time he can, confident that this is his moment.
What? Oh my God, where is she? She's next door at his house. And you better get there quick, because with Quagmire, sex is inevitable. Like a fat guy ordering dessert when everyone else wants to leave.
So, does anyone want dessert?
Ugh, I couldn't eat another bite.
No, I gotta get home for the sitter.
I'll let this play.
That takes 45 minutes.
That's okay.
I can't believe we're doing this, but I gotta say, it feels kind of right.
I know, it's so weird, right? It's like fast. It's fast.
For Quagmire, this isn't just another flirtation. Lois has always been special to him, and now he's got a real shot. Meanwhile, Brian finds out about Quagmire's plan and rushes to tell Peter, who, as luck would have it, has regained his memory after a wild brawl with Ernie the Giant Chicken. Realizing he could lose Lois, Peter hurries to find her before it's too late. Back at the after-dinner event.
So, does anyone want dessert?
Ugh, I couldn't eat another bite.
No, I gotta get home for the sitter.
I'll have this play.
That takes 45 minutes.
That's okay.
Things get more complicated for Quagmire when Lois says something heartfelt about the memories she shared with Peter. This breaks Quagmire's concentration as he realizes that Lois is still deeply in love with her husband. Right at that moment, Peter arrives to reclaim Lois. Quagmire, feeling the sting of disappointment, watches as the two embrace, knowing he missed his chance. Despite his efforts, Quagmire understands that he can't replace Peter in Lois's heart. He steps back, defeated yet somehow accepting, as Peter and Lois walk away together, leaving him to reflect on what might have been. In the episode, The Giggity Wife, Peter stumbles upon Joe's secret, a student ID he snagged from a kid who got too mouthy. Eager for a break from reality, Peter, Quagmire, and Joe head to Harvard University for lunch, ready for a day of mischief. Their adventure spirals into a night of wild partying, and in a drunken haze, Quagmire accidentally marries a quote-unquote street entrepreneur named Charmise.
Oh man, what happened last night?
I can tell you what happened.
What the? Who the hell are you?
Who the hell do you think I am, sweetie?
Oh no, you mean?
That's right, baby. As of last night, we're man and wife.
The next morning, he's in shock as Charmise insists on keeping their marriage alive. Quagmire finds himself in a tight spot, torn between his carefree lifestyle and the commitment he never wanted. Joe warns him that divorcing Charmise could cost him dearly, which adds to his stress. As he grapples with the idea of keeping the relationship, it becomes clear that Charmise is not the glamorous partner he had imagined. She struggles to rise above her circumstances, leaving Quagmire feeling suffocated.
Hey, let's do it.
What, you mean like sex?
Yeah, and we should go now. I just stuffed everything back into place.
Charmise, I don't really think I'm in the mood.
In a moment of desperation, Charmise questions Quagmire's masculinity, even suggesting that he might be gay. This sends a jolt of panic through him. To keep her from leaving, Quagmire devises a scheme to convince her he is indeed gay. He pretends to embrace a new lifestyle, but his plan quickly unravels when she catches him watching some not-so-child-friendly content. Charmise demands he prove his newfound identity by sleeping with a man, pushing Quagmire further into a corner. With no other options, Quagmire turns to Peter for help. Peter, ever the willing accomplice, agrees to participate in Quagmire's charade as long as they go on a date first. Quagmire suffers through the awkward outing, fully aware of how ridiculous the situation has become.
Well, if it's so much of a chore!
What the is going on with my life?
Back at Quagmire's place, Charmise is impatient, urging them to get on with the act. The atmosphere becomes tense as the guys fumble around, trying to play the part. Just as they almost cross the line, Charmise suddenly calls off the performance, pointing out that it's clear they're straight. In a surprising twist, she offers Quagmire a divorce, appreciating the decency he showed her during their time together. As she leaves, Peter and Quagmire share a moment of relief, only for Quagmire to realize the camera on his laptop was recording the whole fiasco. Meanwhile, back at the Griffin house, the family watches the live feed in horror, a testament to Quagmire's disastrous yet dramatic escapade. Just when we thought we'd get rid of Quagmire, he's shoved back in our throats in the episode Candy Quahog Marshmallow. Peter goes to Quagmire's place to pick up some clothes left behind by Ida, but when he and the guys stumble upon an old box of tapes, they discover that Quagmire was once a star in a Korean soap opera while he was in the service. The group gets hooked on the series, captivated by Quagmire's dramatic love scenes, only to be hit with disappointment when they find the final episode is missing. Quagmire can't even remember how the story ends, so the guys decide to take a trip to Korea to track down the last episode. Arriving in Korea, Quagmire is instantly recognized. Locals remember him as the heartthrob from the soap, and he's treated like a celebrity everywhere, even at the hotel. While searching for the missing episode, Quagmire reconnects with his former co-star, Soojin.
Glenn Quagmire?
Soojin?
Who invites them over to watch the final episode at her place. As they catch up, it's revealed that Quagmire and Soojin were more than just on-screen partners. They had a deep, passionate relationship that even Quagmire had forgotten. While Soojin prepares dinner, the guys are entertained by Korean pop music videos, and Peter gets a bit too intrigued.
I've missed you so much. I've forgotten how happy we make each other.
Okay, I'm done with this sweet rice water that has a pine nut floating in it. Nice dessert, by the way.
Finally, they settle down to watch the long-lost episode, where they see Quagmire's character leaving Soojin to return to America. But this revelation stirs something in Quagmire. He realizes he still feels a strong connection to Soojin, and considers staying in Korea with her. The guys try everything to change his mind, including making their own silly music video to remind him of the joys of Quahog, but nothing works. Quagmire is set on building a new life in Korea. However, when he spends the night at Soojin's house...
Who's that?
This is my grandfather. He is going to live with us in the Asian tradition. So will the rest of my aunts, uncles, and cousins.
They will?
Of course. And have you met great-grandma?
I can see through her. Is she a ghost?
We don't know. She won't answer. Tomorrow, you take her to town to buy root vegetable. After that, you will get psychopath haircut so you look like one of us. What's the matter, Glenn? You don't seem completely emotionless.
No, I am. I'm emotionless.
He discovers her entire extended family lives there, leaving little privacy. At the airport, just as the guys are about to leave, Quagmire shows up, joining them in a final rendition of the K-pop song they made. Soojin and her family, now thrilled to be part of the K-pop music video, wave goodbye. Back at the Drunken Clam, Quagmire feels relieved to be home, but any sense of peace is short-lived when Mayor West, Mort, and Tom Tucker come back from their own vacation to rub it in. In the episode, I take the Quagmire Peter's unexpected win on Wheel of Fortune brings chaos when he scores a free maid for a week. While he revels in the mess he can create, Quagmire's eyes lock onto the new maid, Joan, and instantly he's smitten.
Oh, maid!
Oh my god!
Everybody, this is Joan.
Hi. Hello.
De uniden, hablendeth arweth hal uniden, leth hansed deun, quagmandir.
Dena den re dun habeldeth mithrendier ve on hel hesano. Hey there. It's nice to pleasure your acquaintance. Would you like to go out to dinner tomorrow night?
I'd love to.
God, he works fast.
Ditching his notorious ways, Quagmire turns into the perfect boyfriend, even dropping down on one knee to propose to Joan at the beach as the sun sets, a stark contrast to his usual life of one-night stands. However, Peter isn't too thrilled with this transformation. Watching Quagmire settle down makes him feel like he's losing his wild friend. Determined to bring Quagmire back to his former self, Peter pushes him toward all things Bachelor related. He tries to coax Quagmire into joining him at strip clubs for a classic bachelor party. Peter even goes as far as to spend a fortune to get a foot from the Statue of Liberty to indulge his foot fetish. But no matter what Peter does, Quagmire remains committed to Joan.
I've decided I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?
Of course I will. Nothing would make me happier than to be Mrs. Quagmire.
Proving that love has truly changed him. At the reception for Quagmire and Joan's wedding, Peter's attempts to sabotage Quagmire's happiness backfire spectacularly. Quagmire, while scanning the room, can't help but notice Lois's noticeable curves, stirring old habits and temptations. Panicked at the thought of reverting to his old self, Quagmire tries to break up with Joan. Her over-the-top reaction, threatening to harm herself if he leaves, throws him into a tailspin. Quagmire's friends hatch a wild plan to fake his death. They film a ridiculous video with Quagmire being attacked by absurd characters, a ninja in a wheelchair, a Nazi wielding a ray gun, and even a dinosaur. However, the absurdity isn't enough to convince Joan. As they scramble for a new plan, they decide Quagmire should feign a heart attack.
Well, you look a lot better.
I did it, Brian. Through sheer force of will, I kicked my addiction to breast milk.
But things take a twist when Mayor West insists on encasing Quagmire's coffin in concrete to prevent zombie attacks. This crazy idea forces Peter to reveal Quagmire is alive just as death arrives to collect a soul. In a dramatic moment, Joan sacrifices herself to save Quagmire, fulfilling her own tragic fate while allowing him to continue living. The chaos of love and friendship leaves Quagmire changed forever, a blend of old habits and new loyalties. Come with me, guys, let's witness Lois at her prime in the episode Meet the Quagmires. Peter, inspired by Quagmire's tales of wild, freewheeling single life, can't help but feel he's missed out. When death arrives at the Drunken Clam due to a false alarm, he seizes the chance to grant Peter's wish, sending him and Brian back to 1984. Transported to his 18-year-old self,
Hello, boys.
Wow, 18-year-old Lois. Son of a...
Damn, I would have married her that instant. But Peter blows off his date with Lois to join Cleveland at a bar, diving headfirst into the single life. Peter revels in the freedom, dancing, and even making out with Molly Ringwald, all before death swoops in to bring him back to the present. But Peter's choices have changed everything.
Morning, sweetie.
Ah! Who the hell are you? What are you doing in my bed?
Peter, it's me. Molly, your wife?
Molly Ringwald? You're my wife?
We've been married for 20 years. What's wrong with you?
While Lois...
Sorry, Lois, but I have to do this.
Oh, Peter, that was so passionate.
In this alternate reality, the world has somehow improved. Al Gore is president, Chevy Chase hosts The Tonight Show, and everything seems, oddly, perfect. But Peter isn't satisfied.
Oh, Glenn, I love all your sex jokes and your dirty puns. That's why I married you. Let's go upstairs and do it.
Okay.
Lois is sure happy. Desperate to win Lois back, he pleads with death to send him to the past again. Once back, Peter vows not to mess it up, but he just can't resist making the same mistake. Time and again, he finds himself on another do-over, always failing to follow through with Lois. Meanwhile, Quagmire is smooth and confident, easily winning over Lois's heart, and Peter's frustration only grows. Death finally gives up on Peter, refusing him any more chances. With one last shot, Peter and Brian sneak into the country club to intercept Quagmire's big romantic moment with Lois. Peter, filled with determination, watches Lois drift closer to Quagmire, who now seems like the perfect partner for her. It's unbearable. Peter musters all his courage, storms over, and punches Quagmire, finally making his move. He kisses Lois with all the passion he's held back. She's convinced, and Peter finally proposes, with her saying yes just as their love triumphs over Quagmire's charms. Returning to the present, Peter finds his life restored to its usual chaos. And there's one extra twist. Roger from American Dad has mysteriously moved in with the Griffins. It's a strange new normal, but at least Peter won back his true love, steering Lois away from Quagmire's grasp. In Season 9, Episode 1, And Then There Were Fewer, the Griffins join other townsfolk at a dinner party in an ominous mansion on a stormy night. Peter believes the party is in his honor, only to find that everyone thinks the same, creating instant confusion. As the group settles, Quagmire arrives with his new girlfriend Stephanie, hoping to impress her with his wild, dramatic lifestyle. But as they gather in the dining room, the mood shifts from excitement to dread. Suddenly, Stephanie is killed in a shocking moment.
I only just found God. Why would I jeopardize my entrance into heaven?
If I were you, I'd keep your mouth shut till you talk to a lawyer.
Quagmire is left stunned, unable to process the sudden loss of someone he had just started to care about. The group panics and tries to flee, but the only bridge off the island is blocked. Quagmire finds himself questioning everything, wondering if he's somehow cursed to lose every woman he gets close to. As accusations fly, Quagmire is on edge, grieving for Stephanie while also fearing for his own life. The tension rises when James Woods, the host, is also killed in the dark.
Oh yeah, that's what every hack says. You know, Brian, you're
Quagmire can't shake the feeling that love is nothing but pain, and that his pursuit of relationships always seems to end in tragedy. Each new twist only deepens his despair. The situation becomes even more chaotic as they discover more bodies. Muriel, Mort's wife, vanishes and is later found dead, her murder proving there's a true killer in their midst.
I mean, none of this happened until...
More murders follow, with Jillian's husband Derek falling to his death after a blow from a Golden Globe award. Priscilla, Woods' girlfriend, also vanishes, leaving Quagmire trapped in a nightmare of mistrust and suspicion, all while struggling with the loss of Stephanie. The guests are determined to survive the night, sticking together and searching for clues. But when Priscilla's body turns up, they wrongly suspect Tom Tucker. The morning brings the truth as Diane Simmons reveals herself as the killer, motivated by revenge. In the end, Stewie saves the day, but Quagmire is left hollow, his brief hope for love crushed yet again. His life of romance seems cursed, and he wonders if he'll ever break free from the shadow of his tragic luck in love.